Alright guys, I have the FMS Yak-130 plugged in on a 6L 3200 mAh battery pack from Spectrum. As terms of CG, as far as CG goes, I don't really get much option, but my CG is kind of where this pointy part of the decal on the wing is. So, right here, this little pointy part. So, like I said, I have no gyro in this thing. Just last control check. Ooh, control checks pay off. My ailerons are reversed. Always do a control check. Aileron, elevator, rudder. Everything's good. Those are my landing flaps. So here we go. And for my timer, just for the first flight, I'm setting it to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and I do have a checker on me, so after the flight, we're going to check it, and I'll show you how much flight time I got with a 6L 3300 mAh battery pack. This 12-blade fan sounds really awesome. And I do have a switch that I programmed, like right now, to put it at 80% rates, just in case. So I'm gonna take off with 80% rates, I think. Final check. Here we go. Kicking off. Well, that sounds amazing. Redirects up. One of my retracts are stuck. Okay, we've got a stuck retract. Hopefully that won't be an issue. This feels very nice. I'm gonna be playing with my retract switch. I'm gonna try and get this retract down. Come on. Okay, I'm happy that it extends. It's just it won't it won't go all the way up. Not really a problem, but my aerodynamics, I need maximum airflow. Let's try and go up and then spin it. Look at that. Let's do that again. Wow, that's really beautiful. Now, where my battery is placed, it is a little bit nose heavy. Let's play around with the flaps. I'm gonna go full landing flaps. Oh my goodness, okay guys, I was flying with flaps on the entire time. I'm so sorry. I didn't even notice because this thing is quick. So let me do some quick passes to see how fast it is without flaps, because I've been flying at 50% throttle with flaps on. I apologize, everybody. Full throttle. Yeah, this thing flies straight and true. Okay, let's try and do another spin now that my flaps are up. Looks about the same. All right, flaps all the way down. Let's try and get some slow action. From all the videos I watched, they said keep the speed up because this thing has a little bit of a nasty stall. And I can see that already. Okay, yeah, when you're slow, make sure to keep your turns very coordinated. I'm talking throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder. Keep that coordinated. Man, this thing would look nice. I mean, it does look nice, but it would look even nicer if I did have my retract down. I don't think I'm gonna get much slower than that, just to be on the safe side. Let's test inverted performance. Oh yeah. Turning just seems a little finicky with the rates right now. Normally I don't fly with any expo, but I think this one does need it. This is gonna be my last pass before I go take it in, because I am already extending my timer. Okay. Retracts down, please. Yes, flaps down. Another pilot came in and said that this plane is his favorite plane to fly. And he said to keep the speed up a little bit. And it doesn't get much simpler than that. Please, 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 yes. Okay. We're good, we're good. I think I could have been a little bit slower, but let's bring it in. It's just such a beautiful day. Sing doesn't like to slow down very much. Okay, so before I talk about anything, let me check this battery really quick. So let me just keep it plugged in, I guess. The battery isn't very hot at all. It's just very warm to the touch. And if I plug it into my spectrum checker, it will say 3.75. So I think that's a good landing voltage. So I don't have to discharge it, but that's Spectrum says it's 9%. So I normally like to land around 3.7 to 3.8, around that range. But I think that was 3 minutes. That was around a 5-minute flight, actually, or maybe like 4 minutes and 30 seconds plus the landing sequence. So it does give you some pretty good flight time with the 3300 milliampere battery pack. But that was my maiden flight on the FMS Yak-130, and I am very, very happy with this model. It flies beautifully, and it's so easy to see in the air. I mean, when it's blue outside, of course. I've seen other people fly in the snow, and it looks just as great. But this thing is just such an awesome airplane. My first time on the sticks, I did notice that it is quite touchy, and that was with 80% rates the whole time. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe go down to 75, maybe even 70% rates, and add maybe 15-20% expo. I'm just gonna play around with it, but that's just how it goes. And it's just such an awesome plane. It has not really any bad behaviors. Just keep your speed up, because I did notice that people have been saying that this thing likes to stall if you don't keep your turns coordinated at slow speeds. And I did notice that. I didn't stall it, of course. However, when I put my flaps down and when I slowed the plane down, I did notice that it was about to go into a stall, and I had to just push my throttle back up. So that just that's just how an RC jet is. Some don't stall as bad as this, but not necessarily a bad thing. Just keep your speed up. And for my landing, you did see that I was coming in quite quick, and I extended all the way down to the runway. So it does take a little bit to slow down. I'm sure I probably could have gone a little bit slower, but most importantly, let's flip this thing over and see what the retract is doing, because that thing literally just did not come up. Okay, so extended. Okay, it's this guy. So you can see here. Oh, look at this. So it's actually getting caught on this plastic thing, I'm sure, because it's like pushing down on this plastic thing. So I'm gonna see if it'll go down if I pull the plastic thing away. So let's just push it back down. Oh, that got caught on my finger, but that's the case because you can see here it's just getting caught on this. So maybe we just, like with a little X-Acto knife, I can just cut off like a millimeter. But I saw that exact same issue on YouTube, except it's on the front. So a little bit of strange quality control on this plane. I mean, you have the strange servo geometry and the screws misaligning, and the retract covers just they just stop the retracts from moving, but they work fine. The servos are fine. It's just physically it's getting caught. So that's pretty much it for this plane. So this thing retails for $340 US, and FMS always has constant sales, so it always goes down in price. And I saw that FMS has a sale recently. I do not know if it's for this plane specific, but you definitely go check it out because this plane is such an awesome jet, and you're gonna see a lot more jet content on this channel because I don't know what happened, but sometimes I'm into 3D, sometimes I'm into jets, and this, I wouldn't say it's a 3D machine, but you could see that when I went up and then I threw my sticks in the corner, it did some pretty cool things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for tuning to John's RC, and if you're new to the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, John here, and welcome back to John's RC. And today we're here with this really awesome jet. This is the FMS Yak-130 70mm EDF jet. This is actually a V2. I do not know much about the V1 of this jet, but Horizon is selling the V2 on their website. So I've been getting into a lot more jets recently, and we're going to be kicking it off with this really awesome airplane. So as with all FMS airplanes, they normally come in a plug-and-play configuration, so that means I have to supply myself with my own transmitter, battery, and receiver. So this model, being a 70mm EF jet, is a perfect size for my 6L 3200 mAh battery pack, and actually on the manual it calls for a 2600 to a 3300 mAh battery pack. So this is a little bit on the heavier side. I've seen people fly this on a 2600 with no problem, and I've also seen people fly this with a way heavier battery, flying it on a 4000. So they can fit a little larger battery in there, but it varies from company to company depending on the size of how they manufacture their batteries. So the assembly on this airplane it should have been simple, and it should have taken like 20 minutes. However, what I've noticed with the FMS planes that I've built, sometimes these things just don't line up at all. And I've seen people complain that the wing spar did not line up. Luckily, my wing spar did line up, but on the FMS F35 that I built, the wing spar did not line up. So the main issue that I had with this plane was the screws. So what's really interesting here is that the rudder, or actually the entire plane, is built without any glue, and the vertical stabilizer is held on with this double-sided sticky tape, kind of similar to like a gyro tape, or it's like a Scotch regular brand. And so there's no glue holding this on or any screws, so it's just put on with the glue. So you probably don't want to be holding it like this or anything because it could come off. And the screws start when you slide in the horizontal stabilizer. On most builds for the horizontal stabilizer, you don't have to put any like spar in. I mean, you have to put a spar in. This one didn't have a spar. You just have to put in 2 screws for the horizontal stabilizer, and this one fit for me. I watched another YouTube video and it said that one did not fit, but for me this one did not fit. So this screw is in there, but it's not actually doing anything because I couldn't get it out. But it's actually, that entire like piece is just held on by CA glue. I just use medium CA for that because I could not get that screw to fit. And they do give you extra screws to try out, and it aligned perfectly. It just didn't thread in. So you know, and I can actually put this on the table so I don't have to hold it. Then for the wing, you have a simple carbon fiber spar, a carbon spar that just goes through the fuselage, and then you have these 4 screws to put in. They're all the same size. Now you do notice that this isn't perfectly flush. You can see that between this little plate there is a little bit of a gap, but I tried pushing it as far as it goes. You can't get it better than that. And the screws here, you did have to really force them in. One of them, they didn't even thread in. I just like brute force it in, like it felt like a drill. So but the wings are tight. It's just kind of sketchy because the screws are a little bit of a pain. And like I said, they do give you extra ones. They give you one extra for the horizontal stabilizer, and they give you one extra for the wing in case you strip one on accident. But at this point it doesn't even matter because none of them fit. But other than that, I had no real issues with the build. The retracts are, of course, they are already pre-assembled. This spinner is magnetic, as with most planes. So that paint just came off. It's okay. So you can see the two magnets here. You can just push it in like that. And these are drop tanks, and you can just take them off like this. So you can see here they have a little bit of a clip, and then you push them in, and then you slide them back, and then they're good to go. So I really like that the drop tanks are removable because I like to fly them. I like to fly planes with them on, sometimes with them off. And I've seen with other manufacturers, they are just glued on, and that's what I don't like about those things. But for me, it was fine. So for the canopy here, let me face it more towards the camera. You can see you have this very basic latch. You can see here, feels pretty good quality. Sometimes they break off, but you can see I have a Spectrum AR620. Okay, don't mind the spaghetti. I have a Spectrum AR620 6-channel receiver, so I have no ASDRX, no safe, no gyro in this thing at all. And they do give you zip ties, but I forgot to get them out before I threw the box out. So they're kind of just seated in there. The thing that I've noticed with a lot of these FMS planes is they give you so much extra cable length. And I think part of the reason why is because this plane also comes in an option with the Reflex V2 gyro, or V3. I'm not sure what version they're on now, but there's a version that does come with the Reflex gyro, so they give you a bunch of extra cables, so you don't have to be managing a very short length with your plane. So I'm going to turn this on so I can show you all of the functionality. Have my DX9 on. And then, as far as the battery, you don't really get much play or much option with where you want your battery, because with this Spectrum 6S3200, you pretty much have to shove it as far back as it goes, or else the canopy won't fit. So you can see here, just plug it in like that. It's armed. I have the battery pretty much like where the Velcro ends, and you need, if there's something here on the front side like a balance plug, it's not going to fit. So just push it in, and then for this canopy you have to push it in, but the latch doesn't close on its own. You have to push it in and then push the latch fully closed, and then it's locked. So you can see here, this is my aileron control. This is my elevator control, rudder, and you can see here on the front it does have steerable landing gear. And these are my flaps. Just push it down. And I actually did not configure my second flap setting, but this is my takeoff flaps. That's what I'm going to go with. And then I'm going to have a little further down for my landing flaps. Forgot to configure that. And then here are the retracts. So you can see here they're extended, and then activate them, and there we go. So these are really nice landing gears, I have to admit. You can see here they are trailing link landing gears with suspension. So you can see here if I push down on them, you actually do get a little bit of shock, which is really nice. And these, it's on all of them. So if I push down on the table, you can see them in action, because I think this is a really nice touch. So you can see here, it's bouncy. So I think that's really awesome. And yeah, as far as the rest of the assembly, I think the last part that I do want to mention is the linkages. I think the linkages they provided are a little strange because the regular ball link clevises with the ball link at the end. However, they're all the same size, and especially on the ailerons and the flaps, you have to loosen them a lot to get them to reach the control horn. And it's to the point where like the flaps like rod is kind of loosening from the actual clevis, so I might have to put a drop of CA on that. But you can still, it's still tight, but you can like wiggle it around. It's not going to come off, but it's just strange. And the servo geometry is also strange because you can see here, you have on this side, you have your ailerons and your flaps pointing this way. But then you see here, you have one flap pointing this way and the aileron pointing this way. And you can see here, they're on different spots on the rod. The horn. So it's just strange servo geometry. And I've noticed that on my other FMS plane actually, so it's a recurring theme. But the elevators, they fit on fine. Just had to loosen up the clevis a little bit and then it was perfect. So that's the last thing I do want to mention. I'm only mentioning that because I literally could not get these centered mechanically, because if I try to center it even more, it would just come off of the rod. So I'm gonna see if I can trim it out, but hopefully it flies well. For the specs, it is a smaller 70mm EDF jet. It's not super small, but this thing has a wingspan of 880mm, has a length of 1060mm, and there's a wide range of batteries that you can fit into here. But the manual says it's around 1850 grams, so it's not terribly heavy. But yeah, it's gonna depend on what battery you put on, of course. So yeah, it's a really beautiful day outside, so let's go and fly it.